A man walks through an abandoned building, broken shelves, faded murals of cartoon giraffes, empty, echoing halls that once rang with laughter. He's not just walking through a store, he's walking through a graveyard. In 2018, Toys R Us, the world's biggest toy store, shut its doors for good in the United States. 33,000 employees lost their jobs, and with it, an entire generation lost a part of its soul. But what really killed Toys R Us? It wasn't just the internet. It wasn't just Amazon. This is a story of greed, of debt, of a corporate hit job disguised as capitalism. A story of how Wall Street sold your childhood for parts and left nothing but rubble. In 1957, Charles Lazarus opened a store that would redefine childhood. He called it Toys R Us, a magical place where kids didn't just shop, they dreamed. The aisles were endless. The shelves were exploding with color. Every trip felt like a birthday. And Jeffrey the giraffe wasn't a mascot. He was a friend. At its peak, Toys R Us had over 1,600 stores worldwide. It was the largest toy retailer on Earth, bigger than its competitors, more magical than malls. It didn't just sell toys, it sold experience. But in the shadows, things were shifting. The world was changing, and so was the way people shopped. The cracks didn't appear overnight. They crept in slowly. By the early 2000s, competitors were evolving. Walmart and Target slashed prices. Amazon began offering toys cheaper, faster, easier. But Toys R Us wasn't defeated by competition. It was sabotaged from within. In 2005, private equity firms bought the company in a leveraged buyout. They borrowed billions to finance the deal and saddled Toys R Us with the debt. Suddenly, every dollar earned didn't go to toys. It went to interest payments. $400 million a year. Gone. Toys R Us had the brand, the recognition, the love. But it had no oxygen left to breathe. By 2017, Toys R Us owed over $5 billion. It was barely staying afloat. Employees watched their hours shrink. Stores stopped being restocked. Customers found dusty shelves and higher prices. Bankruptcy loomed. But here's the worst part. Even in bankruptcy, private equity firms still profited. They took massive fees, management bonuses, payouts. Meanwhile, loyal workers, some with decades of service, were left with nothing. No severance, no health care, just a pink slip and a memory. They called themselves the Toys R Us Orphans. In the final months, Toys R Us felt like a ghost town. No new stock, no future plans, just liquidation signs and confused children. One viral photo said it all. Jeffrey the giraffe waving goodbye in an empty store. And that moment, that photo, broke something in all of us. Because it wasn't just a store that died. It was a place. A portal to our past. A shrine to innocence. And we let it die. Not because we wanted to, but because the people in charge didn't care. Because to them, childhood wasn't sacred. It was scrap metal. Something to strip and sell. Today, you can still find a few Toys R Us stores overseas. And a few have reopened in malls, hollow echoes of what once was. But the spirit is gone. Because what made Toys R Us special wasn't the toys. It was the magic, the feeling. That something wonderful was just around the corner. It was walking in with no plan and walking out with wonder. That magic was stolen, not by Amazon, not by you, by people who saw childhood joy as just another line on a spreadsheet. This wasn't a failure of business. It was a failure of values. And the cost wasn't just dollars. It was something we'll never get back. This was the invisible collapse. Subscribe for more stories of forgotten legacies, corporate betrayals, and the quiet death of the things that once mattered.